Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. I remain your teacher and facilitator, Dr. Chukwudi Okonkwo, and I will be taking you today's class, and the topic is innovation. The topic for today's session is innovation. Hello, everyone. All right. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. I remain your. So, let's take it step by step. Okay, just be patient. I'll be sharing my screen very soon. So let me just completely set up. Okay. Like I said, the topic today is innovation. I look forward to having a great time with you. So let's go there. Okay. Now, the plan is we plan to let me just completely set up so that I can be sure that nobody's going to distract me. Okay. Now, the topic is innovation. Today, we're going to talk about innovation. We've gone through a couple of sessions. We've talked about entrepreneurship in several ways. We've talked about the characteristics of an entrepreneur, who the entrepreneur is, the characteristics of an entrepreneur. We've gone through the skills that are required, the traits of entrepreneurs, the theories of entrepreneurs. So today, we want to talk about the concept of innovation. So, as a kind of outline, we're going to be discussing in its holistic form what an entrepreneur or what an innovation is, the dimensions of innovations about the knowledge-driven innovation. So what is innovation? Innovation has several definitions. If you go through the internet, you will notice that there are several definitions to innovation. And if you try to search, you will notice that you'll get about 1,000, up to 1,000, more than 1,000 definitions of innovation according to different writers. But today we'll be talking about innovation according to scholarly recorded definitions. So what is innovation? Innovation is the process of translating an idea or invention into a good or service that creates value or for which customers will pay. So you can notice that innovation is a process, and to be for it to be called innovation, an idea must be replicated or replicatable at an economic cost. That means you can replicate it and it's not that expensive, as well as you can make money from it. And it must satisfy a specific need. Innovations involves deliberate application of information, imagination, and initiative in deriving greater or different value from resources and includes all processes by which new ideas are generated and converted into useful products. So in business, innovation often results when ideas are applied by companies in order to further the needs and expectations of customers. In a social context, probably in a social gathering, in a social context, innovation helps create new methods for alliance creation or new methods of joint venturing, new methods of interaction, new process of doing certain things you used to do before, flexible work hours, and creation of buyers purchasing power. That's what innovation is. Now, some notable scholarly definitions that we'll be talking about, and I need you to note them, is some of these established authors that have, or scholars that have defined innovation, and we'll be pointing out some unique part of this definition as we go ahead. Now, innovations are new ideas that consist of new products, services, new use of existing product, new markets for existing product, or new marketing methods. This definition was preferred by Simmons in 1986. You will notice that Simmons' predominant concept in his definition is new, new, new. He applied new to an idea, he applied new to a product, he applied new to a service, he applied new to the use of existing product and new to a market situation or existing product in a market situation. He also applied new to marketing methods. So innovation portrays something new. However, it could also be something okay, before I interject with my own explanation, let's just go through the scholarly definitions completely. Now, Evans, 1991, defined innovation as the ability to discover new relationships, of seeing things from new perspective and to form new combinations from existing concepts. Innovation can be defined as the process that provides added value and a degree of novelty to the organization. This definition was preferred by Conclaves, 1991, Lumpkins and Des, 1996, as well as Knox, 2002. He also said that, he went further to say that suppliers and customers developing new products, solutions, products, and services, and new ways of marketing, all are part of innovation. So they put together this definition, these authors I just mentioned, by saying that innovation can be defined as a process that provides added value and a degree of novelty to the organization, to the supplier, to the customers, developing new procedures, solutions, products, and services, and new ways of marketing. Now, from this definition, we can as well, we can extract a comprehensive definition which anyone can run with and will not be wrong. Innovation can be defined as the application of new ideas to products, processes, or other aspects of the activities of a firm that leads to increased value. Now, when we talk about value in the definition of innovation here, the word value, the term value, is defined as a broad way to include higher value added for the firm and also benefits that could be accrued to consumers or other firms. All right. So there are two important concepts, definitions here under innovation. There are two important concept definitions under innovation. Well, one is product innovation. The second is process innovation. Sorry for the slide. The slide is wrong. Here is wrong. It's also product innovation and process innovation. All right. Now, product innovation, this is the introduction of new product or a significant qualitative change in an existing product. While process innovation, this is the introduction of a new process for making or delivering goods and services. Of course, we have several ideas or examples where we can explain how innovation works. Okay. Now, we can take an old product. For example, let's highlight that product innovation. You can come up with an invention, come up with a new product that solves a problem, or take an old product and create it in a new way, and that becomes product innovation. All right. Like, for example, we have cars. People use cars these days, and the cars are serving our needs. However, someone came up with an innovation, and that innovation is electric cars. That is a new kind of an old product. Cars are old, but electric cars are new. So you see, that is a significant qualitative change to an existing product. So it's a product innovation. The same thing with process. You can have the process with which you process something. For example, the natural way, the way we process our local delicacy here in Nigeria called apple. We take the apple, we soak it for 3 days, and you allow it to ferment. And after that, you wash it. After washing it, you now dry it, or you kind of mold it when you want to cook it. And to prepare it, you have to cook it once. After that, you pound it, like pre-boil it, and then pound it again before you get the fufu ready. Now, that is the process of getting fufu for people to eat. However, someone can introduce process innovation. That is the introduction of a new process of making or delivering that particular good called akpu or fufu. And that is that some of us have noticed that there is what we call fufu flour, where you get the fufu flour, instead of pounding the normal fufu twice before you get the food ready, now you just get the fufu flour and stir it inside hot water like you're making semo and all that, and the fufu is ready. So the person has introduced a new process to that, to delivering a good or service. And that is the two types of innovation we are talking about. Now, we have dimensions of innovation. Dimensions of innovation. Now we have 5 dimensions according to Ram, Siu, and Wu. And the 5 dimensions are innovation as something new. 2, innovation as conduit of change. 3, innovation as a process. 4, innovation as a value driver. And 5, innovation as an invention. Okay, as an invention. So you can have innovation appear in different dimensions, in these 5 different dimensions, by the creating of something new, invent something new, or something that is new to the market, by coming with something that is change, being a conduit of change, and as a process, as well as value driven or driver. And then we have invention or invention. Now we have the next thing we'll talk about is the modes and types of innovation. Modes of innovation. There are 3 main modes of innovation: the entrepreneurial innovation, the technological innovation, and the strategic innovation. These are the 3 modes of innovation. Now we have the types of innovation. According to Jorge Lopez of 2015, he broke down this innovation into types. But however, he took the entire types of innovation and broke them into 2 dimensions and said innovation either comes as technology and then as market. So there are 2 types, technology and market. And he also took these 2 dimensions where he broke them into and further broke them into 4 different types of innovation that companies can and do pursue. All right, companies can and do pursue. So let's see these innovations, types of innovation. Now, take a look at this diagram carefully. You will notice that on this very left-hand side, you see market. And then on the bottom side, you see technology. You see market, you see technology. Now, what you notice is that under, just beside market, we have existing, and then we have new. So we have under market, we have incremental innovation, and then we have architectural innovation, and they can both be in the market dimension. Then we have the technology dimension side, we have existing, and we have new. So we also have the existing technology type can be incremental in its innovation and can also have architectural innovation in that same line. And then we also have the new side, which is the disruptive innovation as well as radical innovation. But before you get confused about how these things work, let's explain the different types, these 4 different types of innovations carefully. Let's start with the first one, which is incremental innovation. Incremental innovation is the most common form of innovation. It is utilized using technology and increases the value of the customer. All right. So we say within an existing market, you can see a product that comes in, and then the innovation is increasing its value day after day. So you see a situation where you have a product like a washing machine. You can get to increase the value of that washing machine. How do you do that? By creating another washing machine that brings out something new about it. Maybe the first washing machine just has an ability to wash. Now the next washing machine has an additional value, all right? And that value could be the timing, a timing device attached, all right? A timing device attached so that you can time the washing machine in a situation where you want to wash delicate clothing. For hard clothing, the timing can be very long. For delicate clothing, the timing can be very short. All right. Okay, so let's continue. Please, if you come in, mute yourself, please. Once you come in, mute yourself. All right. All right. Let's take it again. We said the first is incremental innovation. Incremental innovation is the most common innovation, all right? It's the most common innovation. And it utilizes existing technology and increases the value of the customer, either through change in its design, through change in the future of the product, like I talked about the washing machine, right? Now, if you come in, mute yourself, or else I'll kick you out. You can't be watching football and attending class at the same time. All right. Now, almost all companies engage in incremental innovation in one way or the other. Of course, we know that products are being refined and improved daily. You can get some products that their bottles, like those of you sitting down now, you notice that one of those products, that bottles have changed again and again. Those incremental value added is what we call incremental innovation. All right, incremental innovation. Okay, now let's go to the next one, which is disruptive innovation. Disruptive innovation is quite self-explanatory, something that comes in and messes up what is existing already. Now, disruptive innovation is also known as a stealth innovation. That is, it comes in stealthily, comes in quietly, and it involves applying new technology or processes to a company's current market. When we say stealth, it is stealth in nature since it's new. It's newer than the technology that's existing before. It's newer than the product that's existing before. So people don't naturally take note of its entry into the market until it takes over the market. All right. That's why we say it is stealth. All right. It is only after a few iterations that the newer technology surpasses the old one and disrupts it all at once. Now, by then, it will be too late for the old technology to know that this new technology is taking over the market. All right. Now, an example of it is the playing of or watching of movies online through apps and through apps and platforms like Netflix and all that. They came in quietly and nobody knew they were there, and they were luring people to come use their services, and people were using their services. All of a sudden, people are no longer subscribing to cable TVs as much as they do, because they can easily just do their watching of TV through their watching of cable films and all that through their smart TV, smart devices, and all that. So they came in quietly and they're disrupting the old system, the old way of doing things. All right, now there are quite a few examples of disruptive technology or disruptive innovation. One of it, another one of it, is the prominent Apple iPhone. It's a disruption of the mobile phone market. Why is it so? Prior to the iPhone, most popular phones relied on button phones, like we call them button phones. They relied on those, most people relied on those kind of phones, those phones with keypads or scroll wheels, as they call them. Now, the iPhone was the result of a technological movement that was years in making and by stealth in coming into the market. And uh, it mostly took over devices like the PDAs. People used to have personal digital assistants before. People used to have things they call palm trios phones, but nobody, some of you in this generation may not even know them. But that phone just came and knocked them off, and they no longer exist. So such innovation is what we call disruptive. They come in quietly into the market. The old system are not even aware that they are there, and all of a sudden they take over the whole place, the whole market. And in your little environment, just look around for this. Now, the next is architectural innovation. Architectural innovation is simply taking the lessons, skills, and overall technology and applying them within a different market. That is, you take skills, lessons, technology learned in one particular section or one particular aspect of the economy and apply them in a different market. This innovation is amazing. Is amazing because it tries to increase new customers as long in that along that technological line in a different market space. So most of the time, the risk involved in architectural innovation is low due to the reliance and reintroduction of a proven technology. All right, the reliance and the reintroduction of a proven technology. Now, um, though this is not to say that they are not there are not downsides to it, but there are also downsides to it. So with architectural innovation, the components and associated designs and concepts and other things associated with that particular technology, if they have negativity as well, will be transferred to the other market as you keep moving the skills and all that to another market, to a new market. So it comes with an upside as well as a downside. Okay, now we have the radical innovation. Radical innovation is what we think of mostly when considering innovation. That is, we think of something that just changes everything all of a sudden. Radical innovation. Radical innovation. Now, radical innovation can be new, and that technology can also be new in terms of market, right? It gives birth to new industries or swallows up an existing one and involves creating revolutionary technology. All right. Now, for example, the aeroplane is an example of a radical innovation because its first mode of transportation was to use our legs to travel, but it was revolutionary for one to just travel by air, right? So an aeroplane is like that. It's a radical innovation. And this radical innovation is about uh, improvement on what was existing, but it's called in a radical way, or we call it a revolutionary way. Now, radical innovation is about much more than just improving or improvement to an existing design. A radical innovation calls for whole new design, ideally new components, integrating them into a new design in a new way, coming up with a new product, just something radically different. All right, radical innovation establishes a new a new domain or new space of a design that people have not seen before. So we say it's new, it's just new, it's just new. All right. So it's often associated with introduction of new technology. So you can think of something in that light. All right. Now, these are the different four dimensions to it, or four types of innovation. The next is theories of innovation. We had talked about theories of entrepreneurship earlier. Now we want to talk about theories of innovation. Theories of innovation. Now, there are a couple of theories we'll be talking about. Let's just take them one by one, highlight the most important part of them, and move on, given the time frame we have for today's session. So the first is Schumpeter's creative destruction. Schumpeter's creative destruction. And what does he really say? What does he say? Now, Joseph Schumpeter is an Australian economist, he considered innovation as a critical dimension of economic change and believed that economic changes takes place due to innovation, entrepreneurial activities, and market power. In his book, Capitalism, Socialism, Democracy, which he wrote in 1942, Schumpeter coined the term creative destruction, which he defined as the process of industrial mutation that incessantly revolutionize the economic structure from within, incessantly destroying the old one, incessantly creating a new one. So creative destruction is the process of industrial mutation that incessantly revolutionizes the economic structure. That is his word. These are the exact word he used, okay, from within, and incessantly destroys the old one, incessantly creating a new one. So you notice that this is a kind of innovation that shows up, kills the old one, and creates a new one. Now, in a very simple word, creative destruction is an important economic concept that can explain many of the dynamics of industrial change, such as the transition of a competitive market structure to a monopolistic one, and the transition of a monopolistic market to a competitive market structure. So that is one of the theories Schumpeter introduced. Another theory is the diffusion of innovation. This theory focuses on the factors that determine whether or not and at what pace an idea or an innovation will be adopted by members of a particular culture. Now, anytime there's an innovation in a particular place or in a particular environment, people take time to adapt to it. So this theory is, in a kind of way, trying to focus on the factors that determine whether or not people will adapt to a particular innovation, at what pace will they do that, and the idea of how they will do it. All right. Now, the propounder of this theory is Everett Rogers and he did that in 1962. And he stated that diffusion is a process by which an innovation is communicated through over a period of time among the members of a social system. Let's take an example that a product comes into existence and people are looking at it with skepticism. Now, such product will require certain people to use it, speak about it, and then sell it to others, either by the acceptance of that product or their rejection of that product. So this theory of innovation by this particular author is saying that, is telling us that what are these factors that determines whether or not and at what pace an idea or an innovation will be adopted by members of a particular culture. Now, this particular author also said that there are five aspects have been the focus of diffusion's research. And one of it is that the characteristics of an innovation which may influence its adoption. All right. there are several characteristics that comes with a particular innovation. It either determines whether an innovation will be accepted or rejected. Then the second is the decision-making process. The decision-making process that occurs when individuals consider adopting a new product and or practice. All right. Then we have another, the next one is the characteristics of individuals that make them likely to adopt an innovation. And then we have the consequences for individuals and society of adopting an innovation. Then we have the communication channels used in the adoption process. All these are the focus of research on the level or the pace at which a particular innovation will be adapted. You know, some particular innovation don't get adapted really fast. They come really last. And it's because of some of these characteristics that this particular author raised, because maybe those that use them did not review them properly. Those that use them did not even want to say anything about it. The way the society that where it was introduced rejected it or kept it cool, and not a kind of society that speaks. These are all the things that the aspects of um, this this man's theory. It says that the definition of innovation theory is talking about the aspects of it that either makes you either accept it quickly or reject it outrightly. The aspects where the society, the social system of a society accepts a particular innovation or not. Then we talk about the the categories of innovation, uh, the, the 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 different categories of innovation adapters, those that help you to adapt a particular innovation. We have the innovators. The innovators are those that innovate particular things or some things. Then we have the early adapters, those that go for it initially. And we have the early majority. Then the whole crowd goes for it. Then the fourth is the late majority. Then another set goes after. And then the last are the laggards. Those are the ones that come really last. So given that innovations flow through networks, the nature of the network and the role of the opinion leader determines how likely it is for the innovation to be adopted. An opinion leader is a person whose opinion, characteristics, behavior shapes other people's opinion or influences other people's opinion. In this case of this, this theory, the opinion leader is important because it is the opinion leader that determines a lot in this context. Another theory that we'll talk about is the Teece model. The model was put forth by David Teece in 1986 from his ground-breaking paper. He called that paper Profiting from Technological Innovation and published it in Research Policy. Now, the model explains why firms can fail in appropriating economic returns from their innovations. According to his model, merely inventing a product is not enough for a firm to benefit from it because, you know, firms can innovate, they can invent something, but that does not guarantee that they will benefit from it. Two factors that determines who can benefit from innovation are technological immutability, and complementary asset, according to the theory propounderer. He said technological immutability and complementary asset. What do they really mean? It's important to know. What do they mean? These two factors, let's start with the first, technological immutability. That is, when you see immutability, the origin of that word means imitation. So technological imitation. The immutability refers to how easily competitors can imitate or copy an innovation. All right. Now, to guide against this, firms can use innovation protection mechanisms like you try to register your product, copyright your product, that is use things like intellectual property right. Then you adapt things like secrecy, and then tact knowledge to protect invention from imitation by your competitor. Then you can benefit from that product optimally. Of course, you know when your product is is pirated, you lose the benefit of the um, benefit of the money you should get from it. Others start getting monies or getting some pay from your work, and they are not the authors. So these are the challenges of the author was talking about, the factors that determine who benefits from innovation. So for you as an inventor or an innovator to benefit, you must adopt technological immutability. Then the second one is complementary asset. Complementary asset refers to the assets that firms can deploy to ensure profit from an innovation. These include activities like distribution channels. How do you distribute your product? Brand name. Is your brand a name that people are attached to and willing to buy from? Then your marketing strategy. What is your marketing strategy? How do you penetrate the market? How do you go through different segments of the market? Then you have customer service. When people come to your organization, how do they feel when they go? How do you receive them? After sales services and all that. Then we have alliances and collaboration. Do you align? Do you collaborate with industry participants and others in your line of business? These are complementary assets, and they will enable you benefit from your innovation. Now, other types of theories of innovation are the disruptive innovation, which was introduced by Clinton Christensen in 1997. Then we also have the Utterback and Banati model of innovation, which was brought in 1975. This particular model explains that how the whole innovation system goes through three distinct phases. It posits that every innovation goes through the fluid phase, the transitional phase, and the specific phase. Another theory that caught our attention in the course of preparing this note is the absorptive capacity theory. Now, this particular theory was put forward by Cohen and Lavender in 1990, which talks about firms' ability to recognize the value of new external information, assimilate it, and apply it to commercial end. So the first is that the firm must be able to recognize new external information, assimilate it, get to understand it properly, or internalize it, and then apply it to commercial, and that is try to make some money from it. Another theory or model we talk about is the Conway and Stewart's theory or concept of innovation networks. This was put forth in 1998. All right. What do they mean by innovation networks? They referred innovation networks to as networks that bring together radical different combination of knowledge or members who are geared towards adopting and embedding innovative ideas and radically creating new products and processes. This brings to mind the hubs being established in different parts of the world, even in Lagos, where we have maybe tech guys come in one place, they have similar ideas, they have similar drive, they come to one place, they form something that looks like a network, and they try to come up with ideas and push it so that they can really make money from it. And that is what this particular author was trying to profile. Okay, the next would be the role of finance for innovation. Now, of course, you know, like they say in our Igbo palace, ego giolo, money is the backbone of almost everything. If you need money to make any significant progress, the role of finance for innovation is highlighted by both funding needs and funding availability. You know, the two are not the same. You, as the innovator, require funding to power your work, your new ideas. No matter how much you think you need, if there's funding availability is not there, then your idea is dead on arrival. So there are two dimensions to it, the funding needs as well as the funding availability. No matter which one is the case, all right, they are closely related to the stages of development of firms and its innovation project. Let's take an assumption that you listening to me is an innovator and you have a company and you are starting up, building up on your new ideas. Now, The funding need, you know it. The funding availability may be out there. So we say that this your project is affected by the two. And at the first stage is the initial stage of your innovation. And this is when your invention is being developed, and then the research is being conducted, and you are trying to fine tune your ideas to make them. You need money at this level. At this level, nobody believes in what you are saying because everything may just be in your head or on paper. So they may just feel that you are chasing a wild goose chase. However, at this stage, fund is needed. So fund is needed at this initial stage. And in fact, this is the most important stage, because if you don't cross this stage, you can't get to stage 2 and stage 3, which is the advanced stage and the final stage. The second stage is at the advanced stage, and this stage is when the prototype, your ideas has come to life. Now you have a product. Now you have something you can show investors. Say, this is my product, come and invest in it. This is my idea. This is how we process this thing, come and invest in it. And then you can now attract either angel investor or venture capitalist to back you up. Or you go with your product and get a loan facility from available funding. So the role of finance is quite important. So the third stage is the final stage of your invention as a firm that is going for an innovative product or project. The final stage is at the level of technological direction and adoption. You've come up with the idea. How do you now sell it? How does people adopt that your product in your cultural society or web selling it? So funding is required at this level because you need funding to produce and mass produce. You need funding to scale your business. Probably people are starting at buying your product and requires more. You need funding to push it to the next level. So you must not forget this. Funding is required at finance is required at the initial stage of every innovation project, and advanced stage of the project, and at the final stage of project. Now, what are the sources of finance for innovation? We can say that we have internal and external source of finance. When you say internal and external, without saying another thing, the next question is internal and external to what? As a firm that's going after an innovative product, the internal source is internal to that firm. So if the firm is selling and making some profit, so internal source of finance will be the monies you generate from within, which is things like internal retained earnings. You've made some money and you retain some of them. Profit you have accumulated, which you have not distributed to your shareholders. These are some internal funds that can be used. That's our internal. Now, external to your firm, is the monies that come from outside, and they include debt and equity, as well as maybe the combination of the two. Then monies from venture capital funds, from monies from bank, monies from credit card, other sources of financing. So we have internal source of finance and external source of finance. Now, there are issues in financing innovation and new ventures. What are these issues? There are 4 basic problems that limit investors' willingness to invest in capital. One is the uncertainty about the future. Once you are dealing with a new product, an innovative product, and you're starting a new venture, investors are skeptical in putting their money. Why? They are skeptical about the uncertainty of the future. The question in their mind is, will this product sell? What is the future of this product? And once the people cannot see the future, they become very skeptical. So this is one of it, uncertainty of the future. Number 2, information gap. They need to get information about your product, even you yourself. And that is important. Differences in what various players or investors may know about your product is important. If there are a lot of differences in their information, investors will hold back. So the information gap from investment decisions, from your competitors. What are they saying? What's the information? So if you're not passing the right information as a new startup, as an innovator, that can put your investors off from you. Now, the third one is soft asset. The assets are unique. The assets are unique. You know, we could put it in inverted comma because soft assets simply just means uh, these assets are unique. The ones we classify as soft assets, they are unique and rarely have markets that allow for the measure of values. All right. Thus, leaders are less willing, or lenders are less willing to uh, provide credit or their fund to back up such invention or innovation as it relates to this. So if your business is concerned with soft assets like we talked about, its investors may be unwilling or skeptical about getting involved. Then the fourth one is volatility of current market conditions. People may understand what you're doing. People may get the points, may even have seen the future of what your product is talking about. But the volatility of the financial market, volatility of the product market can change overnight and affect the venture capital's current situation or value and its potential profitability in the eyes of your investors. So once the market situation is just changing really fast, it becomes difficult for investors to be willing to put in their monies in new ventures or innovations. Now, major financing instruments for promoting, we have bank loans. People that have innovative take loans from bank. Of course, bank loans attract interest. Banks use they use they ask for collaterals before they can give you loan, and you are obligated to pay back. So it's important you note what you are getting into when you take a bank loan. Another is personal funds. Some innovators have saved money. Probably they were entrepreneurs in where they worked and they saved a lot of money, and now they rely on their personal fund. That is fine. Then we also have government grants and subsidies. They are used as seed funding for innovation, startups, and SMEs at the seed and early stage of the company. Small business innovations that research use this grant to take off. Some of us will remember a particular government grant early, sometime some years back, called You Win. It was a business plan competition. You write a business plan about your new venture, and if you win the grant, you get a maximum of 10 million to set up your business. So grants are financial advancement that don't require you to pay back, but they come with several conditions. All right. Now we also have business angels. These are financing sources at early stage of your business. They try to bring money at that point when the business is at the early stage, and they bring advice also. They come in with mentoring on business management. They tend to invest in the form of groups and networks. All right. Financing at startup and early stage. That's their bane. That's what they call their business angels. They don't come in late, they come in early. Then we have venture capitalists, as we may call them. They tend to invest later in the business for its expansion. Your business is running for some years, and then you need to move and increase or scale the business. You go for venture capitalists. Then family and friends, they are just like personal finances. They are friends. Some of them give you finances at without interest, all right? But they can't give you as much money if you really need a lot of money to take it to the next level. They can't give you as much. Banks and loans are better off in such situation. Then we have debts, equities, and all that. Then we have crowdfunding. Crowdfunding, a collective funding tool via the internet, which makes it easy for small businesses to raise capital at the seed and early stage. Now, some of the issues with it is that there's potential fraud around it. Lately, we have seen cases where people on the internet try to crowdfund their business or crowdfund a sick person, crowdfund something, and end up finding out it was a fraud. So a lot of people are careful with such. A lot of people are careful with such. So let's be careful with that for crowdfunding and all that. All right. Now, then we have tax incentive. What do we mean by tax incentive? Tax incentive is a broad range. Anyway, there are just so many tax that can be given. For example, there's a kind of law in Nigeria where if you are producing a rare product, the government doesn't tax you as it used to tax others. I think it gives you a tax holiday or something. So that is an encouragement for you to produce more of it because it's a rare product. So tax incentive can be a major financial instrument. Rather than take from you, they're allowing you to retain your money. They're not taxing you, and that is good. Now, the same thing applies for cooperative. Cooperatives don't pay VAT or those taxes. Okay, value added tax and corporate tax. They don't pay because the assumption with that particular cooperative is that the members of the cooperative are raising money by themselves and using monies within themselves. And that way you can't tax them for spending money on themselves. So that is another one on tax incentives. Started, I said we're going to talk about some couple of topics. Talk about innovation, and then we'll talk about change management. Now, what do you mean by change management? Change management is the discipline that guides how we prepare, equip, and support individuals to successfully adapt change in order to drive organizational success and outcome. Now, sometimes some organizations want people to change. They want to carry out a major change. How do you manage such change? How do you manage such change? Research has shown that all changes are unique and all individuals are unique as well. Therefore, there are actions we can take to influence people in their transition. You want to introduce a new technology into a particular organization. You want to introduce a new process into an organization, and you need people to change in a particular way to adapt to this particular change. How do you manage the change? So, and one thing we've noticed again is that if change is forced on people, normally problems arise. How many of you have noticed that when this one happens with children all the time? If your parents tells you, please, you can play around this whole house, but you see this particular cupboard, this particular section of the house, don't go there. Once they put those restrictions, what they have ended up doing is create and focus your attention in that particular place. So you find out that the children will no longer want to play every other place except that place you say they should not play. So once you start initiating something that changes the way things work, people just naturally want to just shake it off. So you have to be careful how you bring about change among people. Change management entails thoughtful planning and sensitive implementation. Above all, consultation. You must consult with the people and involve the people that are affected in the by the change in your change process. You must involve them, or else they will resist it. And if they do, they truncate the entire process. So there are key questions to ask before starting organizational change. One of the questions is, what do we want to achieve with this change? What do we want to achieve with this change? For this particular topic, let us have in mind that money deposit banks in Nigeria, or we call them deposit money banks in Nigeria, like your banks, some of you have your banks and you'll be complaining that you can't do transfers, you can't copy this, you can't. even check your balance and all that. You don't get alerts as at when you, and the banks keep sending you message that they are carrying out it update. They are carrying out an update. Be careful, be patient with us. What they are doing is actually they are changing something. They are changing something within the organization, and you are a victim of it. Now they should carry you along. So the first question for organizational change before you start an organizational change is ask yourself, you that want to effect the change, what do we want to achieve with this change? For the banking system, for example, they want to achieve a more efficient platform for people to carry out online banking and all that. They want to strengthen their technological infrastructure that backs their banking operations. The second question is why and how will we know that the change has been achieved? So you set parameters. You set parameters, and those parameters help you to know if you have achieved your goal. Then the next is who is affected by this change. Most times for the banking case, as we talked about, it's your customers, your staff are going to be affected by this change. So you must take note of that. And once you note it, you can easily attend to their needs, address whatever it is that they are concerned. The next question is, how will they react to it? Of course, most banks realize that once they start this upgrade they are doing, that customers are going to go after them. In fact, customers have even said that some banks have been taken over, has been hacked, that they are going to shut down, they are going to fail. How will you deal with it? Probably some of them pick up the social media to keep assuaging people's fears so that they can uh, solve some of the issues and get them to adjust to the change they are just introducing. The next question is how much of this change can we achieve ourselves? And what part of the change do we need help with? For the banks, we're using the banks as a case in study in this situation. If it is the technology, are you sending experts to come and effect the technology? How much can you achieve? Are you going to do it by yourself? How much can you achieve? So these are key questions. And when we study philosophy those days at the basic level in the university, they say an unexamined life is not worth living. Everybody needs to examine himself at a time to know what it is he or she really wants. So for change to happen, you must ask yourself these questions. Now, these aspects also relate strongly to the management of personnel and as well as organizational change. So those that are involved in the organization should be aware of this. Change management is therefore a very broad field, and approaches to managing change vary in different ways. It varies in different ways from organization to organization and from project to project. Many organizations and consultants subscribe to formal change management methodologies. These provide things like toolkits, checklists, that is, checklists like when you do one thing, it's okay, we've done this one. After this, after this, after this, and such sequence. They adopt such checklists and outline plans of what needs to be done to manage changes successfully. When you have task, when your basic task is to manage changes, irrespective of the organization or where you find yourself, the first question to consider is what change management actually means in your situation, because it doesn't mean the same thing in all situations to everybody. So for you particularly, as an entrepreneur, as an organizational manager, you must clearly know what change management means in your situation. There are several levels of change management. We have three of them. We have change management at the individual change management level, individual change management. We have organizational or initiative change management, and we have enterprise change management capability. Now, while it is the natural psychological or physiological reaction of humans to resist change. I mentioned that earlier. We actually quite we are actually quite resilient creatures as human beings. quite resilient. We try to, at times, we just take it that we must survive, we must take up, we must get over this. So there are some changes that comes our way, and we just take it in our strides. So when support is on the way, some people just say, okay, let's just do this, let's just get it done with. And then human beings are adaptable. Remember the acronym for living things. Well, this integrated science, it says Mr. Niger D. And one of the letters there is the response to stimuli. We tend to respond, and we tend to respond in different ways. So individual change management must take into consideration that individuals are different and they react to things differently. All right. Now we also have organizational change. And while change happens at the individual level, it is often impossible for project teams to manage change on a person-by-person basis. So organizational or initiative change management provides us with the steps and actions to take at the project level, that is at the organizational level. So organizational change involves first identifying the groups and the people who will be or would need to change as a result of the project, and in what way they will need to change. Organizational change management then involves creating a customized plan for ensuring for ensuring that it impacts employees, uh, and the impacted employees receive the awareness they need, leadership coaching, they need training abilities concerning the change or the need to successfully, and so on and so forth. So project managers ensures your project solution is designed and developed and delivered, while change management ensures your project solution is effectively embraced and adopted and used. So you see, everybody has their function in this particular regard. Then we have the enterprise change management capabilities as it were. Now, steps to implement change. The first is to communicate the rationale behind the change, uh, behind the need for the change. Now, let's assume that the change is in the banking sector, like we highlighted an example earlier. Now, first step to implementing that change is to explain to customers that this change is so that the bank can improve technological infrastructure to protect you, the customers. Once they say it like this, all of us will say, okay, we'll carry out the change. We don't want anybody to steal our money. You see it. Now, then the second one is management support for the change. And then they give you the assurance that management is behind this change. That no matter how your money is talking between, we're going to make sure you get your money back. And everybody is fine. Then number three, employee involvement. All the staff of the organization are involved in the change. They are being affected by the change, but yet they are encouraging customers, assuaging their fears, and so on. So employee involvement, everybody is involved. You will see an employee that did a transfer of maybe 200,000 and still hanging. Is there encouraging a customer that wants to blow his lead, that transferred only 10,000 naira and he can't get the money? He's encouraging, don't worry, it will come. And that is because the employee is convinced that this change is good at the level of the organization. So the next is implement the change in phases. Some changes are not good to be implemented wholly. Implement it phase by phase. Why? If you've worked in a technological company before, you will realize that to implement any technological change, it's important to do it phase by phase. If you do it wholly, you have a serious problem. For example, you try to implement, maybe you're migrating from one server to another, you're migrating from one system to another. Implement it phase by phase. Why? So that if you encounter difficulty, you will know the level at which you succeeded and the level at which you started failing. So you can reverse to that extent and make all the changes you require. So that is an important one. And there are and as it concerns human beings, if you implement phase by phase, you realize this phase at which the people start rejecting your changes, and then you can adjust accordingly. Number 5 there says implementation should involve a timeline. You can't carry out a change in a particular system without telling people the timeline. I noticed some of the banks then sent me a message that they will be shutting down between this time and this time. Why do they do that? It's so that you can plan, so that you can psychologically, one, note that this change is not forever. Two, you can plan. Three, you have an endpoint in view. All right. So a timeline is important for implementing uh, a change. Now, the next is evaluate, review, and report on change. I mentioned the evaluation earlier. You must evaluate at each point. You have to review at each point and report on that you observed during. And then the number seven, removing barriers. Barriers will come up as you keep implementing change. Sometimes employees encounter barriers when implementing changes, and these barriers can be with other employees, other departments, technology versus technology, inadequate training, lack of equipment, or sometimes supply needs. Sometimes management also needs to deal with resistant or difficult employees in this phase. It is management's responsibility to ensure that employees can implement change without obstacles and resistance. Unfortunately, sometimes employees need to move on in order to successfully implement the needed change. Now, the next is to celebrate your successes because at each phase, like we said, don't implement wholly, implement in phases. At each level of implementation and you succeed, celebrate it because those wins you celebrate are a source of encouragement. There are a lot of encouragement that comes from this. Celebrating small changes and building momentum from bigger changes are what makes employees want to participate in the process. When employees understand why a change is made and as part of the process for planning and implementing the change, employee allows for a better chance of adapting it within himself psychologically. So that is quite important. So celebrate your successes when they come. Then we have factors that are driving change. One, you must believe that your employees that they will gain an advantage or benefit personally from the change. And this is a key factor that drives the change. Of course, everybody knows that if they have something to gain, they tend to are favorably disposed to certain things. So uh, people, such people that know that things like that will benefit them tend to work hard. So believe that they gain, that they will gain, that the member, that your employees or your customers will gain from such change, and that will be a great factor that drives the change. The second one is compare change to their current state and identify similarities. Now, look at how we are doing our business now. This change we're introducing is going to make it easier for us. So you try to compare the change of the current state and what the change that is coming in the future will be like. And that will drive change. For example, people look forward to the good future and then it drives change. Now, the next is understand the change despite its complexity. Now, people will accept change when it is communicated in simple terms, all right, or broken down into smaller ideas or steps that can be more easily understandable or grasped. So when you act and present your change in its complexity, people tend to run away. But when you break them down, people tend to accept it. People tend to accept it. Now, the next is test the change. Test the change. Okay, test is change. Now, what does that really mean? Form a pilot test group to allow a small group to walk through the change before asking a broader group to do so. This allows issues and objectives to be identified and that you test that change more first. Now, there's a certain way that such things can be resolved. There's a certain way because when it is tested in a small group, in a small pilot group, you tend to solve small problems at a time. You tend to solve small problem at a time, so which is very good. So you test the change in a small group before you implement it in a larger group. Then number 5, learn from others who have had success with the change you're trying to make. Now, seeing or hearing about people or organizations that already have made the intended changes successfully can provide powerful assurance and encouragement for you that want to implement it. For example, when asking a group of firm leaders to move to a new departmental structure, sharing case studies or articles or referring to other groups that have successfully made that move and or that organizational change can help those affected to feel more confident in the change being proposed. All right. Okay. Now, technological change and management of innovation. In economics, a technological change is an increase in the efficiency of a product or process that results in an increase in output without an increase in input. In other words, someone invents or improves a product which is then used to get a bigger reward for the same amount of work. An example of this is the phone, the invention of the phone. The phone has undergone many different changes over the years and has made it more, and these changes have made it more efficient. It has moved from 3 stages. One, the invention stage, the innovation stage, and the diffusion stage. Now, the phone at the invention stage is when the phone was created as a new product. All right. The invention stage, of course, is the creation of a new product or process. And the second stage is the innovation stage, which is the application of the invention for the first time. And that's why we say innovation and entrepreneurship is a process. So that first time it was innovated and presented is what we call the innovation stage. The phone has passed through that stage as well. Then the diffusion stage is how that begin to adapt to the phone. A lot of us slow to adapt to the GSM phone. However, we adapted. So you see, the phone is one example of technological change as it were. So the next is impact of technology change. The first is that it creates new products and processes. Number 2, it increases efficiency and lower costs. Number 3, it helps economies to evolve. How technological change affects entrepreneurship. Number 1, the power of technology or the power of the social media has affected entrepreneurship in no small measure. How has this been? 1 is through online advert. Through online adverts, you will see through online adverts, you see that social media has propagated a lot of entrepreneurship online. Now you can sell your product through a smartphone. You can sell your product through either Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, and so on and so forth. You can generate business ideas through social media. You can expand your business and so on through social media. And these are ways that technological change has affected entrepreneurship. Number two is increase in virtual offices. A lot of people do the business they do from their homes or virtually. They don't need to have an office. Their offices are virtual. They're online, just basically online. All right. So that is an advantage that technological change has brought to entrepreneurship. The next is cloud computing. Of course, we know that cloud computing is a situation that allows businesses to operate online. For those that have not signed the attendance is ending very soon. So please do well to do that. Only a few people have signed it. So we're talking about cloud computing. Cloud computing is interesting because it enables us to do a whole lot of things. With cloud computing, you can save your information online. And when you do that, you can pick it up from any device you are using at any time. So you see some people have their office phones, their personal information on their phones. And that is how they operate. They can use their phones, they can operate with their phones and all that. It allows businesses to operate online without having to maintain their own servers. So routers are used, other expenses, hardwares are used, and all these are part of the things that give gives customers and entrepreneurs a lot of advantage, and that's what we call cloud computing. So these are the advantages of uh, technological change on entrepreneurship. Okay, that's about it for today. That's about it for today. I don't know if we have questions. If you have questions, you can type them or unmute yourself and ask. For those that are joining now, you're not supposed to type your name. The polls are not supposed to be filled as a chat. A poll is open already for you to fill your names as an attendance. If you don't do it that way, your names will not be taken in. So please fill the polls. We need to fill the polls. All right. If you have a question, unmute yourself and ask. If you don't have, we'll call it a day. All right. In the absence of any question, we'll call it a day.
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question. Please, can you explain more? Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Please, my question is, can you explain more on the types of innovation?
On the types.
Types, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, these are the types of innovation. We have 4 types, but it was important that we told you how the 4 types came to be. That is why we had this initial explanation of the mode in which innovation comes in. Innovation can come in as an entrepreneurial innovation. Innovation can as well come in as technological innovation. Innovation can also come in as strategic innovation. Now, types of innovation. The author, Lopez, broadly classified all types of innovation into 2. And one is technology and the other is market. If you look at this diagram, you will notice that the types of innovation, the 4 of them, has, see, if you look here, you see market has existing market and new market. So if a market, a type of innovation is already existing, a market kind of innovation is already existing, for you to add value to that existing product is called incremental innovation. For you to add value to an existing market product is called incremental innovation. Then we have a new product, a new market product referred to as architectural innovation. That's a new product is coming into the market. Now, if you stretch it, you will see that even a new market product can also be a radical innovative product that have not been seen before. It's not new in terms of changing an existing product. It's radical because in its use, in its product, in its technology, everything. The same thing if you come down to technology, that is a dimension of technology. You have new technology and existing technology. For example, technology like phones. We have phones existing already. So once you improve phones from button phones to touch screen, that's incremental innovation. Existing, when phones came into existence, we call them new phones. They are disruption to communication. The only way communication was happening before was through writing of letters, sending of birds, and all that, different ways of communication face to face. So to what do you call it, touch screen and all that, that's incremental innovation technology. And that technology again, that same technology again that's existing can still be affected by agricultural innovation and radical innovation. So there are 4 types: architectural innovation, incremental innovation, radical innovation, and disruptive innovation. So that is so I don't know if I've been explaining them that way. I don't want to go through the Abianuju, if you can hear me.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay. So now, for all the students that are, because this is a general course, you go to the center to pick up the text for it. And that is if you've registered for it. So you go to the center and pick up the textbook for it and read it. Whatever we are teaching you now is also in that text that they are going to give to you. So we advise you to go there and pick it up. All right. Any other question? All right. In the absence of any other question, we'll call it a day today. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate your presence. For those that did not come, advise them to go back to the channels that we have provided for them to go through this recording. They could go to the YouTube page because it's being recorded there right now, and listen to it again, and then maybe ask questions as the case may be. All right. See you next time. Bye-bye.